Hi guys, today we'll be doing a presentation about the movie version versus novel version of The Lost World.
The Lost World starts with Edward Malone rejected by Gladys Hunkers. He was asked to write an article about Professor Challenger's returning from South America and life in the Amazon. The London Scientific Communication thinks Challenger in a fraud. He planned a trip to prove it, and Edward Malone joined in to get Gladys' attention, along with Lord John Loxton and Professor Summerlee. The journey is full of dangers. Was the forest a rash patel? They found adjacent climates to which they built a bridge over, but their temporary bridge was destroyed and the four found themselves stranded on a plateau. They were attacked by ferocious dinosaurs. Professor Challenger, Lord John Loxton, and Professor Summerlee has been taken hostage, but Lord John Loxton managed to escape. After that, he and Malone stepped in to help their author. And the end of the story, when Edward Malone returned, Gladys is married to Leclerc. Lord John Loxton says he's been collecting lost diamonds on the plateau, and with the money, Professor Challenger opens the Summerlee Museums, and Lord John Loxton and Edward Malone begin planning a new adventure.
Summary of The Lost World movie version 1992. Let's get started. The film begins with Edward Malone, a junior reporter who was looking for an adventurous assignment. Then he is sent to interview Professor Challenger, an explorer and researcher who believes he is on the trail of the Lost World, a mysterious place in Central Africa. Challenger has a picture of a cliff and a strange beast resembling a pterodactyl. That is his only evidence of the place. The British scientific community found it laughable, funny, but after receiving funding from the family of Nelson, Jenny Nelson, a wildlife photographer and the daughter of a rich American contributor to the science, the scientific community agrees to organize an exploratory expedition under the leadership of antagonistic Professor Summerlee. On the team, they had Professor Summerlee, Malone, and Nelson. But on the way to the Lost World on the boat, Jim became the part of the expedition. When they arrived in Africa, they are joined by the female guide named Malu, a Portuguese called Gomez. Professor Summerlee opened the map and found nothing. It was blank. At that point, Professor Challenger appeared from nowhere, like literally from nowhere. And since Professor Challenger is the only one who knows the way, Professor Summerlee got no option but to accept his guidance on expedition. The exhibition went on, and finally they found the cliff and reached the top. Then Gomez stranded them with no way back down, so they set up a camp for a night. The next day they continued their expedition and found dinosaurs. At midnight, Jim, Malone, and Malu found each other while exploring the jungle and were almost attacked by a carnivorous dinosaur. Arriving at the camp in the morning, they found out that everyone was trapped by Ape Man and rescued them by killing the tribe president. After that, the left of the Ape Man came up to group up with Malu's tribe and helped the survey teams go down from the cliff in order to apologize for what they just did.
Coming back to London, Professor Challenger and Summerlee confirmed the existence of the pterodactyl and also brought it to show in the public. And after that, it was caged in performing at the zoo, but was finally released back to nature by Jen, Nelson, and Malone. For the similarity based on our discussion, several parts are the same. So the first one is Malone earns Professor Challenger respect by refusing to press charges with the policeman who saw his violent ejection. Next, the survey team included Malone, Professor Challenger, Summerlee, and Gomez by following up Maplewise's maps. He is an American explorer who had visited the Lost World before. And also, Gomez took his revenge, as you can see in the movie and the book. Next, Professor Challenger and Summerlee were trapped by a mob of ape men. And the last one is both use a tunnel to go down the cliff and back to their role. That's all.
There are some difference between in the book and in the movie. In the book, there are much more detail, and in the movie, it cuts some details off and changes some characters, but it doesn't really affect the main story. For example, in the movie, it didn't include the first scene in the book, where Marlon was at the Hungerton's place and was in a conversation with Gladys' father, and a conversation between him and Gladys about the reason why she doesn't want to marry him, and that she dreams to marry a famous man who is brave and had faced death. She convinced him to find an opportunity to risk his life, and that's the reason why Marlon go ask his supervisor for some dangerous job to do. But in the movie, it didn't even mention about Gladys. It started when Marlon go find some dangerous job. Also in the book, the companions are Edward Marlon, Professor Challenger, Professor Summerlee, and Lord John Roxton, who is an adventurer. But in the movie, there is no John Roxton, but it included Jim, who is a newsboy instead. The detail when they're on the adventure are a bit different too, but it doesn't really affect the plot. Another difference is at the end of the story about the pterodactyl. In the book, it flew off in confusion, but in the movie, Marlon, Jenny, and Jim are the one who released it.
So that's all for comparison between the novel and the film version of The Lost World. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.